any mention of martial arts is incomplete without Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee didn't live martial arts. He was martial arts.
His skill was astonishing.
Bruce Lee had a great form. Great form, beautiful form.
His commitment was inspiring.
He was interested in sculpting himself as a fighting machine.
You can tell that he just puts everything he's got into all of it.
His mixing of styles was revolutionary.
He saw qualities in all these different martial arts that he could apply.
He definitely was a trailblazer.
And Bruce Lee's impact on all of martial arts still beats loudly today.
Bruce planted the seeds that were the philosophy that became what MMA is today.
It's Bruce Lee, the martial artist, on Bruce Lee Lives.
Kane, what does Bruce Lee mean to you?
To come to my mind, I think the best martial artist of our time.
The first thing that comes to mind is the pursuit of perfection.
He was so rare. There weren't a lot of people that did what he did.
Charismatic, star, action, kicking his butt.
There's only one Bruce Lee in my eyes. You have the Jackie Chans and the Jet Lis and stuff, and they're all cool, and they have their own art, but no one really was Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee passed away nearly 40 years ago, never having a chance to see just how big his superstardom would become.
Dying at such a young age like that, you wonder how much did he get to really enjoy his work.
But now, Bruce Lee lives in the series that celebrates the life and legacy of the greatest martial artist of all time. On this episode, we honor Bruce Lee, the martial artist. Throughout his life, Bruce Lee wore many hats. Actor, director, husband, and father. But no role would come to define Bruce Lee more than that of martial artist.
The most famous martial artist is Bruce Lee, period.
Defines what a martial artist was.
Who don't know Bruce sometimes think, oh, he's just an actor, dude. And I'm always thinking, no. Bruce Lee is a martial artist who took his martial arts to the big screen.
People mention Muhammad Ali or they mention Michael Jordan. When we talk about martial arts, I guarantee there's not going to be one kid that won't know the name Bruce Lee.
The fame Bruce Lee gained for being a martial artist was due to many factors, but one, undeniably, was his pure superhuman-like skills.
When the opponent expands,
I contract.
I contract.
I contract.
When he contracts,
When he contracts, I expand.
And when there's an opportunity,
I do not hit.
I do not hit.
I do not hit.
It hits all by itself.
Bruce Lee was a phenom. He's on the highest level of elite martial artist to ever exist.
And just as a pure martial artist, he was extraordinary.
Throughout his movies and other appearances, Bruce Lee always demonstrated awe-inspiring technique.
Bruce Lee had a great form, beautiful form, the way he moved. He has legit skills. You can tell in his footwork. The way he was bouncing on his toes and the fakes and feints, everything was just precise.
When you watched him on film, the way he fought, it was like a dance.
I love kicks. I love the beauty of the kick. And that was the thing that impressed me most about Bruce Lee. The extension that he got always inspired me. And because of that, I would sit and stretch for hours and hours and hours.
Although Bruce clearly had the moves, he also brought something else to the table: genuine, supreme athleticism.
He wasn't the biggest guy, but it's the kind of power that he had.
Not only would he deliver a punch, but the power behind that punch would just come out through his eyes, his body language, and through that punch. And the amount of power that he was able to produce on a bag or on a sparring partner was unbelievable.
He popped me a few good ones, yes.
Everything was very direct, very fast, and obviously, he was
He was such a quick guy anyway.
I remember him as a boy seeing some of those movies, and they are pretty incredible, and I don't think anyone's ever come close to that kind of speed.
And if you just watch him, anytime someone gets in his range, he's attacking. So he's a very aggressive fighting martial artist.
He was like a predatory cat that way, where you knew that once he pounced, it would be relentless. And that had nothing to do with being a physically imposing figure, which I always found is a great source of inspiration. You know, I'm 5'10", but I can kick one of my friends who's 6'7" in the head because of Bruce Lee. You know, I know that that's the reason.
Bruce Lee could have been a genetic phenom, but the physical heights he reached were due to good old-fashioned hard work.
Every day, I practice martial arts. You see?
He trains hard. You see the work ethic come out. You can tell that he just puts everything he's got into all of it.
Bruce Lee's philosophy was, you can never be prepared enough to compete.
Bruce Lee trained for many hours each day. And Bruce Lee didn't just practice punches and kicks.
What stood out the most was how great in shape he was. He had muscles, and he was fast and agile.
He was interested in training the whole body and really sculpting himself as a fighting machine.
The tool is your body. If your body's not in good shape, you can't do martial art. So a lot of people before, they didn't pay attention to the body, as Bruce Lee did. He's way ahead of his time period, you know.
Bruce Lee focused on all aspects of physical fitness, from strength to cardio to even diet.
Bruce Lee was the one who really started cross-training.
He started using weights. He started using protein shakes. I'm gonna run for stamina. I'm gonna eat well, because if I don't put junk food in my body, I'm actually gonna be in better shape to go kick somebody's ass.
He believed in full contact sparring and even helped popularize new types of gear.
I think it's Enter the Dragon where you fight Sammo with those gloves. I'm like, whoa, I've never seen gloves like that before. Open finger gloves where you can grab people.
It seems as though everything he did, he put his whole human force to it. He was trying to reach his maximum potential.
As a martial artist, I really admired that Bruce Lee had focused on his athleticism. Martial artists at the time, they just only were interested in the technique and not realizing that if you put strength, power, and endurance behind technique, then you force. A lot of what Bruce Lee said years and years ago really holds true today.
Bruce Lee's work ethic and focus on technique and physical fitness has become a hallmark of top competitors today.
Training is important because of the fact that you have to be able to learn the skill and hone your skills and be able to use your skills and know what your body's capable of doing.
And it's not just martial artists who benefit from this theory.
My big thing is it's very important in stunt riding because you got to move the bike sometimes with your hips and with your core.
I think that that's something that has separated me from a lot of skiers. You know, if you're strong and your cardio and everything else is good, when you perform on hill, you can do stuff that you really didn't fathom. I mean, your off training is just as important, if not more important, as it is to ski on hill.
And in football, it's the same thing. If you only do what has been done in the past, you're only going to get the results of what's been done. I think you always have to keep forward thinking. You always have to think a little differently to try to get better results.
Coming up, Bruce Lee introduced the world to martial arts weapons. But first, Wing Chun Kung Fu, Bruce Lee's first martial arts style, is revealed. Bruce Lee first began studying martial arts as a teenager in Hong Kong, learning a style of Kung Fu known as Wing Chun, which would become his foundation and help inform his personal fighting style. In Hong Kong, Bruce Lee trained under Wing Chun Sifu Yip Man, one of the most famous grandmasters of all time. Today, Yip Man's lineage has spread all over the world. Sifu Alan Lee, also a former student of Yip Man, teaches Kung Fu in Queens, New York.
Sifu mentioned to me, Bruce Lee is a good student. He always hardworking. He is the gift for Wing Chun martial art. Like we are like Kung Fu brothers. Wing Chun is using the idea of defense and offense simultaneously. I am 63 years old, 5'5", and technically, Lauren is bigger than me, younger than me, stronger than me. Boom! How can I find out a better way to conquer the adversary? That's how this idea starts.
When Bruce Lee moved to the United States, Chinese martial arts were relatively unknown outside of Chinese communities. Bruce Lee would become their ambassador.
What's the difference between a Kung Fu punch and a karate punch?
Well, the karate punch is like an iron bar, whack. A Kung Fu punch is like an iron chain with an iron ball attached to the end, and it go whang, and it hurt inside. One motion, and he's gone.
Upon sparring with a Muay Thai fighter, Lee gained interest in other forms of martial arts.
He had a list, and I thought it was so unique. He listed the advantages, the strength and weakness of the Korean system. He had one on the Japanese karate, and then he had Thai boxing, the strength and weaknesses of that.
He saw qualities in all these different martial arts that he could apply.
And it wasn't just martial arts. Bruce Lee saw value in all fighting styles, from fencing to boxing.
The Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee fight scene. He starts bouncing around like Muhammad Ali a little bit.
He even pulled from wrestling. It was one of the things that first attracted me to him, and I've predominantly been a wrestler my whole life, so I appreciated that.
Lee's blending of styles was revolutionary for its time.
With his martial arts, all the different styles, using from wrestling, boxing, fencing, doing the cha-cha-cha, all the rest of it, he just used everything that worked in any way to make the best working module for martial arts.
You would never have a Japanese practitioner practice the Korean system or vice versa. You would never have a grappler trained in striking arts.
Bruce Lee is one of those martial artists that was far ahead of his time.
Bruce Lee wasn't only interested in hand-to-hand combats. He also studied martial arts weaponry, something he demonstrated throughout his films. In Game of Death, Bruce Lee showcased numerous weapons in his battle against the Filipino fighter played by Dan Inosanto. Hong Kong martial artist Sifu Fong is an expert in each of these weapons. There were the wooden dowels, which can be used as a pair or solo. There was the bamboo stick, good for a distanced attack. And of course, there were the nunchaku.
Oh, dude, the nunchucks. The nunchuck scene was the bomb.
I remember doing the nunchucks and all that because he did the nunchucks.
Bruce Lee's studying of various fighting styles eventually led him to create his own martial art philosophy, which he called Jeet Kune Do.
The art of the intercepting fist.
Jeet Kune Do is the way of the intercepting fist.
In Cantonese, Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fist. Come on, touch me. Any way you can. To reach me, you must move to me. Your attack offers me an opportunity to intercept you.
In your standard style, you block. Bruce said, no blocks. I said, well, how do you stop the guy from hitting you? He said, by hitting him.
Bruce Lee taught Jeet Kune Do to a select few, including Dan Inosanto.
Bruce Lee was my instructor, but he was also my closest friend at that time period.
Over the years, Inosanto has passed on his knowledge to many others, such as Jeet Kune Do instructor Dan Anderson.
Jeet Kune Do is the concepts and principles of the late Bruce Lee. It encompasses every area in a fight: punching, kicking, trapping, grappling, and weaponry. It kind of gives you a little bit of everything as opposed to just doing one thing. Jeet Kune Do is definitely a dirty fighting system if you want to use it that way. You can kick the guy in the groin, you can kick the guy in the kneecap to try to break his knee, you could poke him in the eyeball, punch him in the throat, you could elbow his head. So there are really no rules.
Although Jeet Kune Do is taught today, Bruce never meant it to be a defined style.
The only way is no way.
This thing of using no way as the way. In other words, use all ways. In martial art, you just don't use a Chinese way or a Japanese way or a Western way. You want to use all ways to solve your problem.
Bruce Lee's whole thing was not to have one style. He didn't even want to name it Jeet Kune Do. He didn't even want to have a name for it. He didn't want to have any labeling to it at all.
Jeet Kune Do is a state of mind he's trying to get across, and not necessarily, okay, here in Jeet Kune Do, we punch like this, we kick like this.
And I never thought it was really a martial art. I always thought it to be really a philosophy more than anything else.
Bruce would probably agree. To him, the martial arts were more than just technique. They were a way of life. Coming up, a new sport and multi-million-dollar business with Bruce Lee's mark all over it.
He was a mixed martial artist. He believed in taking from whatever style you go to, whatever works for you, and using that.
Over time, Bruce Lee has become the most famous name in all of martial arts.
He really revolutionized and catapulted martial arts. Who can we possibly name popular culture-wise before Bruce Lee that you can go up to somebody on the street and they would know their name?
Before Bruce Lee's rise to fame, martial arts in the United States was practiced by a select few Americans. But ever since, its popularity as a whole has exploded.
He was the guy who blew up martial arts. He was the OG, guy.
He just brought the whole martial arts thing to the forefront.
He brought it to popular culture and spread it across the world.
Bruce Lee's the founder. He was the person that really kind of pushed martial arts forward into the 21st century.
He began the Western fascination with martial arts, brought it to the masses in a way that it hadn't been exposed before. It probably started this trend of guys wanting to be able to do what he could do.
Today, it's the rare martial artist who doesn't cite Bruce Lee as an influence.
I started Taekwondo at 8 years old and immediately sought out every single Bruce Lee film I could.
The reason I got into martial arts was pretty much because of Bruce Lee films, nothing more in-depth than that.
From watching Bruce Lee, I became obsessed as well with martial arts.
I just wanted to do that, what he was doing.
When I was 12 years old, I went to France with my family, and I sneaked into a movie theater because Enter the Dragon from Bruce Lee was playing. I came out of that theater, and that was it. I wanted to become Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee still martial arts today. The multi-million-dollar business of MMA relies on his principles.
In the mixed martial arts world, he's like a legend. Everyone who goes through first, second grade has to learn about George Washington. Everyone who goes through, whether it's boxing, whether it's wrestling, is going to know about Bruce Lee.
I think I'm safe to say that every mixed martial art is probably 1 or 2 or 3 degrees away from Bruce Lee. Period.
Bruce Lee's commitment to training is used by the most successful fighters.
Now, the age of mixed martial arts, everyone's cross-training. Bruce Lee did all that back then, and people are really starting to do that now.
And Bruce Lee's mastering of many martial arts styles now takes place daily in cages around the country.
It's a shame he died so early because he was really setting up what we're doing today in the cage.
He was a mixed martial artist. He was a guy that believed in taking from whatever style you go to, whatever works for you, and using that.
Bruce Lee was able to, at a very early stage, be open to the idea of taking techniques from different styles and putting them together, and it's exactly what mixed martial arts is.
Using different forms in mixed martial arts or MMA is crucial these days.
Putting everything together to be the professional mixed martial artists.
For mixed martial arts is exactly what we're doing now, where we're cutting off all the dead weight, all the stuff that doesn't work, and just sticking with the basic stuff, and he really was kind of revolutionary in that way.
Bruce planted the seeds that were the philosophy that became what MMA is today. Unfortunately, he was long gone before it ever really became a reality in an actual competition.
He definitely was a trailblazer. I mean, it's clear.
There is one difference, however, between the sport of mixed martial arts and Bruce Lee's fighting style: rules.
There's a lot of different things between the sport aspect of it, which is very close to the reality, but you still can't really go to the eye. And you can't go to the C1 and C2, 3 strike behind the neck. People will be paralyzed, see? Right? You still can't go to the groin, but it's close to the reality. It's pretty good sport.
Be it in a cage or on the street, knowing how to fight was only part of what it meant to be a martial artist to Lee.
Bruce Lee didn't live martial arts. He was martial arts. So when he woke up in the morning, martial arts was on his mind through the day and even when he went to bed and slept.
Because martial arts is a lifestyle. It's a way of living. Come on, remember me? I did karate here. It's in your heart.
It's not something you just put on when you're at the gym and then you go home and do whatever it is that you do then. That mentality and that approach that you developed in martial arts is going to apply there in just about every piece of your life.
A martial artist is trying to better his life through the use of martial arts skill.
It's a mind, body, and spirit alliance, and that to me is what he was about.
In the end, Bruce Lee's ultimate goal was to evolve all aspects of martial arts, and for that, he will forever be its greatest icon.
What makes me learn martial arts is totally because of Bruce Lee, because he's my biggest idol. And then I hope one day I'll be like Bruce Lee.
That was the unique gift that Bruce Lee had. He really made you want to be him. He made you want to practice martial arts. He made you want to be better, I guess, than you were.
He lives in the art and he lives in the idea. He is the man.
Today, through every punch, kick, throw, whether in the gym, in a cage, or in self-defense, Bruce Lee lives.